Hi, Davy. I'm awesome. Welcome to Davy's Awesome Stories, where I tell funny stories from my past or go on a rant in an effort to make you laugh. So, Father's Day is coming up. Figured talk about some of the things it's like being a father. Sometimes it's very annoying. I have 3 boys, and there are things that they have done besides the things that are gross, which I've talked about before. There's things that they've done, especially as little kids, that were just straight up annoying. Stuff that people should prepare you for, but don't. Like, for example, my oldest. I remember it was just him and my middle kid. My little kid was really little, and he was very, very attached to his mother. Didn't like being away, but one thing I could do sometimes to give her a little relief was take the older one out and give her some relief. One way the middle was annoying to her. When she was breastfeeding, he wanted nothing but breast milk straight from the source. My oldest, he never wanted to be breastfed. He just wanted the bottle. My youngest, he didn't care. He just wanted to eat. But sometimes I would take my oldest out. He was like 4 or 5 years old, and he had an imaginary friend. His imaginary friend was Spider-Man, which was fine, whatever. Of course, I'd used my imagination when I was kids. I would talk to people that weren't there because I was pretending. But I don't remember as a kid making my parents do it, too. Like, I remember one time it was Mother's Day. Well, close to. And he went to the store with me. We were going to pick out Mother's Day presents. Because like I talked about, I had already learned that the wrong answer is you're not my mother. But we get out of the car, and there's no shopping carts. So he knows what to do. He reaches up, he grabs my hand, I start walking, and he stops and goes, "What about Spider-Man?" "What about him?" "You gotta hold his hand." "What? Why do I gotta hold Spider-Man's hand?" "So he doesn't get hit by a car." "That's why I hold your hand, so you don't get hit by a car. I don't have to hold Spider-Man's hand. Spider-Man has webs. He can just fling to the front." "Hold his hand." James, I don't need to hold his hand. It's fine." "Hold his hand. Hold his hand. Hold his hand." I knew what he really wanted, even though he didn't know what he wanted. He wanted me to acknowledge his imaginary friend, and he was starting to get fitsy. Now, whereas I don't think you should cater to every one of their little fits, one thing you do learn as a parent very quickly is you do gotta pick your battles. So to get him to stop, I just went, okay. I got Spider-Man's hand. Let's walk into the store. So now I'm walking into a store with one hand in my son's, didn't look weird at all, but another hand out here as if I'm holding someone else's hand and I'm not. I probably looked crazy and stupid, but it was better than him freaking out. And then we get to the front of the store, I grab a cart, I put him inside, and he goes, "What about Spider-Man?" "He has webs. He has spider jumps. Just tell him to get in the freaking cart himself." And he did. Because I'd had enough. I wasn't about to pick up an imaginary Spider-Man. That's just one of the main things. But you know what? I guess whatever. I let it go because, sure, I look stupid, but then again, I wasn't going to see any of these people ever again. It wasn't like they were going to recognize me and I was going to recognize them, so whatever. And it instantly became a funny story. But you know what? All my kids have done annoying things. One thing they've all 3 done, again, it's something they don't warn you about, but they should. Once you become a parent, your food is no longer yours. Seriously, once they start eating regular food, eating becomes a team activity. You learn very quickly with the first kid. Once they get to a point where they can eat regular food, you go out somewhere, don't order them anything, because they're not going to eat anything you order them. You can literally order them their favorite food, and they will just ignore it because they want what you got. No one was worse at this than my middle kid. My middle kid, it took the longest to get out of this. He would just not stop. I've told you guys before, I'm a night shifter. Every single day I woke up and went to work, I'd have to share my breakfast with him. Now granted, I don't eat a large breakfast normally. Not that hungry in the mornings. It's more just to sustain me a little so I don't get too hungry by lunch. So it's usually just like maybe a granola bar or some blueberries or something. But I had to share them. But I remember one time I wasn't going to work. It was my night off. And I was just having a bowl of cereal. Just because I wanted one. And I was talking to my wife, and we were talking about something that I'm guessing was important. I don't remember it now. And I didn't mean to ignore my son, my 3-year-old. I was just stuck in a conversation. So it was that kind of thing where I could hear him, but I just really wasn't paying attention. As I'm sitting there eating my cereal talking to her, he's sitting there like, Daddy, Dad, I want some, Dad. Well, clearly I think what we gotta do is we gotta pay this one first, and then we can worry about the other one later. Daddy, Dad, please, Dad. Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, because then once that's taken care of, then that's off our back, and Daddy, please, Daddy, cereal, Daddy. And again, I wasn't doing this to be mean. I just really was involved in a conversation. But at some point, while I'm speaking mid-sentence, he's like, Dad, please, you're eating, Dad. Share! Sorry? Have a bite. What was I saying? Trust me, sharing food, it sounds cute, but it gets annoying. Because sometimes you just want to eat your freaking food. But then we come to something that, again, happens with every one of them. This time I'm going in with the third one. The youngest. When he was about 3 years old. For some reason, they do get to a point where they do want their own food. And they're picky about it. They want the same thing over and over again. My oldest changed. I remember at one point it was hot dogs. That's all he ever wanted. The middle one, at one point, all he ever wanted was French fries. Then the youngest one, finally something that wasn't too unhealthy. But he would freak out sometimes about it. No matter what we were making for dinner, we'd have to hear, I want beans! He didn't care what kind of beans. He just wanted beans. He was obsessed with beans. Baked beans, or like if my wife made chili, but he would not eat any of the meat or anything. He would just pick out the beans. She uses a couple different kinds for it. I know she uses kidney beans and pintos, but he would just pick those out. He wouldn't eat any of the meat. When I make nachos, I usually make this cheese sauce that I just put everything in, the chicken, the black beans, some tomatoes and stuff like that. He wouldn't eat any chips. He would just pick out the black beans. That's all he wanted. Or if we made like burritos or something, and we made refried beans, that's all he wanted was the beans. But we don't eat beans every day. We're not like that. Don't get me wrong, they're a great source of protein, but not daily. But every day, we'd be like, hey, Timmy, you want dinner? I want beans! Well, we're not having beans tonight. Yes, beans! No, we're having pot roasts, potatoes, green beans. Just beans! Okay, stop yelling at me. Give me beans! And he was being playful, of course. But when dinner time came around and he noticed I wasn't kidding, I wasn't making beans, he'd be upset about it. I just want beans! We don't have any. I wasn't holding out on you. You like potatoes, just eat potatoes. I want beans! Yeah, he would torture us over beans. These are things that you deal with every kid. They get picky about food, they want the same thing over and over again, and sometimes you give in, but at some point you also got to be like, no, you need to eat what we're eating. Every kid wants the parents to share its food, or the grandparents. I will say I loved it when we went around my dad, because my oldest son, he was little at the time, he didn't want mine or my wife's food, he just wanted grandpa's. Go for it. Then again, he was a grandpa, he didn't mind, he thought it was cute, it was fun, which it is. Here and there, he didn't have to deal with it all the time. He only dealt with it on visits. And imaginary friends. Every one of them has had some kind of imaginary friend and done something to make it to where I have to acknowledge it. I have to talk to their imaginary friend. I have to hold their imaginary friend's hand. Or I have to talk about their imaginary friend. Which, again, it's cute until it gets annoying. Because at some point it's like, I don't want to hear about your imaginary friend. I don't want to hear about Spider-Man. Or Jonathan. These are annoying things that every father is going to have to deal with. But you want to know the most annoying thing about every one of these things? Is when you realize you missed it. So there you have it. That's my story video this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post the videos. And leave a comment I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me about some other annoying things that you actually miss. Love you guys.